Hello, welcome. I'm at the North Sea Observatory, which was built in 2018. It's a purpose-built marine observatory sitting on Chapel Point. So today I'm going to talk about safe and effective vocal production. And that's really important when you are projecting your business out into the world. The way people hear you is one of the first things that they judge you on. So that's really important that your business is projected in an effective way. So when we create speech, there are lots of outside influences that can affect how your speech is perceived by your audiences, whoever your audiences might be, individuals, customers, or other businesses. And sometimes people feel that they are struggling to be heard or understood because they're not creating voice in the correct way. And there are steps that you can take to minimise those negative influences and maximise your positive speech production. And remember, as we've said before, voice always starts with the breath. So there's this thing called resonance. Resonance is your body's natural amplifier, and it exists in three key areas of the body, and that's the pharynx, which is part of the throat, the mouth, which is the largest resonating cavity that we have, and the nose or the nasal cavities. And you can also feel resonance in your chest, particularly male voices. They carry a lot of chest resonance. And this resonance can help you to project your voice and increase your volume without shouting. We want to avoid shouting at all costs. So when we are creating the best possible voice work, what we want to do, first of all, is maintain a good posture. Stand straight, but without any tension. Make sure that the knees are soft. Make sure that the shoulders are back and down. And build a good understanding of breath work, as we talked about before, and make sure that you employ this before you use your voice. Open your mouth more. It really helps the sound to get out. And nobody's going to notice if you just open your mouth a tiny bit wider than you normally do. People think that they're going to look really silly, but you don't, I promise. And we need to articulate. So that means employing those 5 organs of speech that I talked about before. Speak distinctly and use crisp, clear consonant sounds. It's so important. T's, D's, finish off your words. And show the meaning. Use your body language, use gesture and facial expression to reinforce your message. But most importantly, don't strain. Allow the words to exist without tension. As soon as you are straining your voice, you are hurting your voice. So we have this thing in English called hard attack, and its opposite, which is easy onset. Hard attack is when the vocal folds are brought together with too much force, and this can cause traumatic injury to the folds, such as swelling and inflammation. And it takes time to recover from those things. Really, the only thing you can do at that point is rest the voice. And it's typically heard on vowel sounds. So if you say a word beginning with A and you attack it with too much power, then we will hear something like hard attack. And essentially it's caused by too much tension in the laryngeal muscles. So we need to make sure that we keep the throat nice and soft. An effective voice production requires that we replace this hard attack with its opposite, easy onset. And this is achieved by ensuring the vocal tract is open and relaxed, as I mentioned before, and we remove any tension in the head and neck muscles. So there's an exercise for identifying and correcting hard attack. So if we say the phrase, Annie ate an apple, do you find or do you think that you're hitting the vowel sounds at the beginning with a little bit too much force? And if you do, you might be employing hard attack. So the way to combat that is to add an H sound at the beginning of each word. So it becomes Hanny, hate, han, happel. And then what you can do slowly over time is to remove those H sounds. When you put an H sound before all of those words, what's actually happening is the vocal folds are wide apart. We call that being abducted. And the air is able to flow freely through the larynx without interference. And as I say, the H sound can be removed over time until you are back to saying Annie ate an apple. So some hints and tips for keeping your voice healthy, and so hopefully you don't lose your voice, which is what we don't want. Maintain a healthy lifestyle. Drink lots of water, stay hydrated. I can't say how important that is. Moisture for the voice is key. Get plenty of rest and use your voice wisely. If you don't need to speak, then don't. Rest your voice as often as you can, particularly if you're ill. That can make a real difference. Practice your breathing exercises and do a vocal warm-up before you have any heavy voice use days. So just to wrap all this up then, we'll do a little bit of a vocal warm-up. And to start with, if we just roll the shoulders back, make sure they're nice and loose, and then we can tilt the head from side to side. Only go as far as is comfortable. Never push the muscles any further than you have to. And then you can just gently roll the neck around, and then in the opposite direction. And that just warms all those muscles up there. And then for the vocal warm-up, we'll do something called a siren. And this involves going through your vocal range right to the top and back down again. And you can pick any sound that you would like to make it. S, anything like that, ooh, ah, it really doesn't matter. So if we do it on an ooh, and we start at the bottom of my vocal range, and I go ooh, and back down again, and you can do that on any number of sounds. Another really good vocal warm-up is M, N, and NG sounds. So we start with the front, which is the M, then we go backwards into the mouth is an N, and then we go backwards even further and we use the NG sound, and it goes something like this. And that's a really good way to just warm up all of those muscles and organs of speech that we need to create some really good, safe and effective vocal work. So that concludes our session on safe and effective vocal production, and in our next session we will be looking at speaking with charisma.